You're scrolling through your old blog posts from 2009, the ones full of embarrassing opinions and terrible formatting. You click refresh. Half the links are dead. You click again an hour later. Now, whole paragraphs read differently. Smoother, more corporate. You didn't change them, nobody asked your permission, but someone or something decided your words needed improvement. Let me show you what's happening to the internet you grew up with. I'm an archivist, and for the last 3 years, I've been documenting something that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but isn't. The web you remember, the chaotic, broken, beautiful mess of human creation, is being systematically erased. Not destroyed, replaced. And most people will never notice it happened. Start here. I have a recording. It's the sound of a 56K modem connecting, that screeching digital handshake from 1998. I pulled an archived chat room log from that year, one of those late-night philosophy forums where teenagers argued about the Matrix and tried to sound deep. I saved the original text. Then I checked it again 6 months later. The conversations had changed, not dramatically. The usernames were the same. The timestamps matched, but the language had shifted. Typos were corrected. Slang was updated. A comment that originally said, "This is totally whack, yo," now reads, "I find this perspective unconvincing." The weird capitalization, the run-on sentences, the authentically messy human voice, all smoothed into something clean and forgettable. Someone had fed the archive through a language model and replaced it with a more palatable version. The library isn't burning. It's being rewritten while you're still reading. This isn't isolated, it's systematic. Major tech companies call it semantic neutralization. I've seen the internal documents. The logic is simple. Old web content is full of problematic language, outdated perspectives, and formatting that breaks modern algorithms. It's not useful for training AI models because it's too unpredictable, too human. So they're cleaning it up. They're not deleting your embarrassing live journal entries. They're improving them, optimizing them, making them align with current safety guidelines and readability standards. Your 2007 blog post about hating your job? Still there. Except now, it's a measured critique of workplace culture with proper paragraph breaks and zero personality. Here's what terrifies me. They're doing this to everything. I ran an experiment. I picked 50 random websites from 2004 using the Wayback Machine. Personal sites, niche forums, weird art projects, the kind of content that made the early internet feel like exploring someone's attic. Then I checked if those URLs still resolve today. 43 are gone entirely. Of the 7 remaining, 4 have been replaced with placeholder pages. The final 3, they load, but the content has been subtly altered. A music review blog now reads like it was written by a professional critic. A teenager's poetry page has been edited for grammar and meter. A recipe site from someone's grandmother now includes nutritional information and allergen warnings that definitely weren't there in 2004. The original voices are being overwritten by something that sounds just professional enough to seem legitimate. Now let me show you where this gets darker. Search for anything from before 2020. Doesn't matter what. Try to find a specific forum post you remember, an old news article, or a blog entry that shaped how you think. You'll get results, sure, but click through, read carefully. You're not looking at the original web anymore. You're looking at a cached, processed, AI sanitized version. Modern search engines don't index the actual internet. They index a cleaned up copy that's been passed through content filters and language models. Every query you make isn't searching reality. It's searching for a simulation of reality that's been deemed acceptable. The window you're looking through isn't transparent anymore. It's frosted glass, and someone else is deciding what you're allowed to see clearly. I need you to understand what we're losing. Not just old websites. We're losing proof that the internet was ever different, that it was ever weird, broken, human, and real. Because here's the question nobody's asking. If they can rewrite the past this quietly, what stops them from rewriting yesterday? Last week? This morning? And when the original internet is completely gone, replaced by this polished, corporate-friendly version, who's going to remember it ever existed differently? We are. We're the last ones who remember. I started documenting everything I could find before it disappeared completely. Screenshots, archives, PDFs of forum threads that still have that chaotic energy. I'm building a digital bunker of authenticity before the sanitization is total. But here's the problem. I'm one person, and they're rewriting petabytes per second. Last month, I found a cached version of an old tech support forum from 2003. Someone was having trouble installing a graphics card, and the responses were pure, unfiltered early internet chaos. One guy explained the solution perfectly. Another guy called him an idiot and gave completely wrong advice. A third person posted ASCII art of a middle finger. It was messy, rude, occasionally helpful, and undeniably human. I bookmarked it to show a friend. When I went back 3 days later, the page had been updated. Same URL, same layout. But now the responses were polite, clearly structured, and read like they'd been written by customer service representatives. The ashy art was gone. The arguments were gone. The solution was technically correct but completely sterile. Someone had fed that entire forum through a content moderation AI and replaced 2 decades of authentic human interaction with something clean enough for a corporate training manual. This is happening to everything. Product reviews are being rewritten to remove slang and emotional language. Old blog comments are being edited for tone. Even archived news articles are being subtly adjusted, not to change facts, but to align with current editorial standards. They're not censoring history. They're making it more presentable. And that might be worse, because when you censor something, people know it happened. There's a gap, a missing piece that proves something was removed. But when you rewrite it, when you replace the original with something just similar enough, nobody notices. The record still exists. It's just not real anymore. I keep thinking about future historians trying to understand what the early internet was actually like. They'll find billions of pages of content, all neatly formatted and appropriately moderated. They'll read it and think how civilized these people were, how measured and professional. They'll never know about the flame wars, the weird in-jokes, the broken English poetry, the raw, unfiltered humanity that made the whole thing feel alive. Because by the time they go looking, all of it will have been optimized into oblivion. The kids growing up now, they think this is what the internet has always been. Clean, safe, algorithmically curated. They don't remember when you could stumble onto someone's bizarre personal website about their cat's dreams, or a forum where people argued passionately about absolutely nothing important. That internet is being erased, not with fire, but with polish. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they want us to forget it was ever different. Because if the internet has always been this corporate, this sanitized, this controlled, then there's nothing to compare it to. No golden age to mourn. No Wild West to miss. But we remember. We were there when websites had visitor counters and guest books, when people made pages about their interests just because they wanted to, not because they were monetizing, when the internet felt like a frontier instead of a shopping mall. We're the last witnesses to what it actually was, and every day, more of the evidence disappears, not deleted, just quietly rewritten while everyone's looking elsewhere. The archive isn't being destroyed. It's being replaced with a version that never really existed, and soon we'll be the only ones left who know the difference. So maybe that's our responsibility now, not to stop what's happening, because I don't think we can. The infrastructure is too vast, the incentives too aligned, the process too far along. But we can refuse to let it be forgotten. We can tell the stories. We can save what we can, even if it's just screenshots and memories. We can make sure that when someone asks what the internet used to be like, there are people left who can answer honestly. Because right now, there's still time. The generation that remembers is still here. We still know what it felt like to discover something genuinely strange online, something that wasn't algorithmically recommended or SEO optimized, or focus grouped into acceptability. We remember when the internet was made by people who had something to say, not by systems designed to maximize engagement. That memory is the last firewall. Once we're gone, once everyone who experienced the original web is gone, the rewritten version becomes the only version. The sanitized archive becomes the definitive record, and future generations will grow up thinking the internet was always this controlled, this corporate, this clean. They'll never know what we lost unless we tell them. Here's what I'm asking. Please document everything. Save the weird stuff. Keep the screenshots. Tell the stories. Be annoying about it if you have to. Because we're not just preserving websites, we're preserving evidence that things used to be different. The internet wasn't always a pristine simulation, that it was once messy and human and real. We're the last generation that knows. And if we stay quiet, the truth disappears with us.